little on the late side, but I did it. I am so exhausted. You're gonna hear some doggies in the background. Lay down. And Lilo's with me, and he's not used to being in the van. He hasn't done this in a while, so. And Lily's a smart girl, so she's being a good girl. But if they start barking, it's only because they hear noises outside, so just bear with it. Alright, so we're going to bring this to your attention. So I put a title here, Could He Be the Real Idaho4 Perpetrator? All because of some similarities that we're going to kind of listen to here. Alright, so I hope you're all ready. I did a pre-recording a little bit. Of course, not with my commentary. Well, at first I did put a commentary in, but because I was talking outside, the wind was so bad that it was like static, so I kind of deleted my commentary. So we're going to commentary through it. Here we go. Let's see where we're at. Don't forget to hit the like button, because we ain't done yet. Alright. I did put a little funny in here, but give me a second. So, I know this is a little older. As of February 26th, law enforcement has captured Jacob Smart. Okay, they have him in custody. Now, let's chat.
Yeah, I think we do.
Okay, so this happens to be my beginning for now. I did do something else, but I didn't, like, follow through with it, so let's put my face somewhere here, and let's hope we can watch this a little bit through.
We do have his description. Can we take that? Let's take his description. Okay.
Throughout the episode tonight, we'll be bringing you crime alerts from across the country, some that could be even happening in your very own community. Can you help us identify and catch these suspects?
Chilling footage of a wanted serial stalker kicking open the door of a home near Boise Ave and Chrisway Drive in Boise, Idaho. His name is Jacob Dean Smart, and police say he's wanted in at least 7 cases across Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. This creep allegedly follows his victim's home and breaks into their residences later. Once he's inside this home, he steals a firearm and some women's underwear, which he's known for taking from many of his victims' homes.
Now I want to pause there for a minute, because you seen those gloves? Did you see that? Let me pause a minute. Look at these here gloves. They look exactly like the ones they found outside. I mean, really, look. Look-a-tee, look-a-tee. Okay. Alright, now, hear me out.
Of his victims' homes. He's a 38-year-old white male with brown hair and brown eyes, standing 5'11" and weighing 200 pounds. If you have any information about Jacob Dean Smart, call us at 866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com.
Okay. Now, they did not talk about this guy here, Arnold Smart. I'm going to say Arnold. And but they did talk about Jacob. Now, here I'm trying to understand where he comes from. So, we'll get into that later. I have to do a little bit more research for this brother of his. Okay? And they did find Jacob. So, hold on. Let's get a little bit more history. Yes, please bear with the noise though. When I did record this, I was outside with the dogs and there's going to be some wind.
Man is in police custody after an hours-long standoff in Kalama. We brought this to you as breaking news Monday on Good Day Oregon. Fox 1's Connor McCarthy was at the scene all day and brings us the update.
A wanted suspect located early Monday morning in Longview by Collins County law enforcement.
Wearing a mask with a beard, black hoodie, blue jeans.
Shortly after midnight, a 911 caller reported seeing a man later to be identified as 38-year-old Jacob Dean Smart of Astoria.
Pretty interesting face, right? Is he wearing a mask? Definitely a hoodie dude. You can tell that he doesn't really own a vehicle. He probably steals vehicles. Okay, let's continue.
Near a truck stop just off I-5 near the town of Kalama. He fled and was later seen running across I-5 towards the port. Law enforcement was able to find him on private property before trying to make a run for it.
He's on the train tracks, His foot bailed from the car. He's towards the freeway, underneath the train.
Smart, pictured here, is considered a suspect in multiple crimes in 3 states, including Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. This past Friday morning, Smart is alleged to have been responsible for a violent burglary in the Longview area. Law enforcement says that these are photos of Smart taken from the security camera footage of the home he targeted. Investigators say the homeowner confronted Smart before being assaulted. He allegedly got away in the homeowner's car before abandoning it close by and then breaking into another home to steal clothes. Fox 12 spoke to one person who lives in the neighborhood days after it happened.
It's kind of unheard of, but it is spreading, so you just don't know what you're going to get into. Make sure the doors are locked and, keep a lookout and have those lights on.
Back at the port of Kalama, law enforcement closed in on Smart, cornering him in a building off Hendrickson Road.
It's a blue building with a white roof. On the railroad side, there's an open bay door for like a semi-truck. He just ran into that.
Just before noon, around 12 hours after first being spotted, Smart was finally taken into custody.
Everyone in custody, I'm going to have a respond to the main gate.
Connor McCarthy, Good Day, Oregon.
Alright, so through the rest of this, we're just kind of reading the article. Great. Don't bark, please. Sometimes I kind of feel like the world is not on my side. It's 32 of you guys. Hit the like button because we're getting ready to chit chat. So, I'm going to bring us to this guy's face. We're going to shut this down. Okay. We're going to pause there. But you see how he looks so different from his, mugshot that they're showing everybody? He's got no hair, but he has red hair. He's kind of a redhead. I've heard about this redhead. There was a lady who can kind of see things, and she did a prediction about what had happened with Kaylee, and she described this man right here. Okay. The only reason why she described Brian Kohberger is because that was who they were going to end up targeting. Now, she described this man long before any arrest was ever made, or we ever knew about this guy. So, I'll find that later. But I'm quite certain my subscribers may know exactly who I'm talking about, and may leave me a link. Now, all of a sudden, there's dogs barking. I'm telling you, it was quiet for a whole hour while I was laying my back down. Alright, so this individual has been breaking in people's homes. And who knows if whether they're why is this happening to me? Who knows if these people were in the apartment or house at the time, or if they were going in when they weren't there. Now, here's the thing. In November, a lot of activities were happening. A lot. You had the football. You had the axe team. I mean, the list goes on all the competitions that were happening between the universities, and they were all getting together and they had parties afterwards. So I'm going to assume that there was a lot of activity that whole week before they all got so tuckered out by Sunday. Okay. So why wouldn't this individual not be there or be a part of some of these, get-togethers? Apparently Idaho would have been a place to be. Okay. Now, we know that the girls were at the corner club, and we all truly 100% believe whatever incident that went down started at that corner club. Now, we also found out that Bethany is a little motherfucking liar when it came to when she seen Ethan and Xana. Her timing was completely off because with other witnesses, they had left at 9:30, which tells me either A, they may have attended the corner club for a little bit with Kaylee and Maddie, but they didn't leave with them. They probably left sooner than that. Something could have happened there because don't forget, there's grown men at the corner club. Okay, grown ass men. He could have either been hanging with his brother or hanging alone. So, I mean, you still have a choice of two perpetrators or one. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. So, the girls leave eventually from the corner club. Of course, they're going to stay a little longer because girls are flirting. And it takes a while for the girls to up and leave. They don't just leave so quickly. Now, there's a couple. That's different because they're already together. They're not looking to meet nobody. They're already a couple. So they're doing something together, not to attract anyone else. So there's a kind of a difference where if how long they plan to stay. So, okay, so they enjoyed themselves. They're hungry. Apparently, the corner club doesn't have anything good to eat. Well, maybe the corner club should think about that, right? So they leave. They go get a pizza. Now, we know they were at the house with the pizza. We know that Dylan and we don't know if Bethany was at the house. We truly, don't know if Dylan was at the house. So let's go with Xana and Ethan showing up at the house. They get their pizza. You know that they have their regular people that come over and they're there all the time. Then you also know and notice that the next door neighbors had extra cars. I'm talking, it was packed. So then we find a photograph of a third house that I have never seen. It has another backyard with a bonfire and chairs all around. And I've already showed that in my videos. So, and I believe I put it in my community post. Hopefully I don't have to show it again here. So, they were hanging out. Here's things that we were hearing with the Linda Lane. And yes, I know, I still have to do the separating of the white noise. Just bear with me. time is never on my side. I don't know why. Maybe God just doesn't want me to talk about it for some reason. So whenever I'm getting ready to do so, something gets in the way of it. That's kind of the way I'm feeling. But so now we heard singing, then we heard a fight. Okay. Then we heard somebody, like saying some weird stuff. And then it gets quiet. No, hear me out. Let's say Bethany and Dylan weren't even home yet. Okay. Now I think they both said they may have been home after 1:30. If I'm wrong, let me know. But Santa and Ethan were already there. A fight breaks out. Somebody breaks it up. However, we hear a female's voice that sounds exactly like Bethany. But again, it may not be Bethany. Okay. They go in. They stumble upon somebody in their stuff, in their room. And that's when all hell breaks loose. Okay, this is a theory. This is a theory. This is still not ruling Brian Kohberger out, but Brian Kohberger is not there. Not at this point. Now, and I'm definitely not ruling out Enon Harsh, so bear with me. Oh, now imagine you and your girl, you're all done with pizza. The pizza that you put in the trash, you're cleaning up. You walk up in your room and you see a dude that doesn't belong there, or even in the living room. Okay, and this could have started in the living room, or it could have started in the kitchen, and not in the bedroom. And so Ethan would have to stand up for his girl, obviously, in the house, and try to get this perpetrator to leave. Well, a fight breaks out. Could have also knocked out Ethan. Now, I'm not saying that he stabbed Ethan yet. Remember, something happened in the kitchen. So then, what I would see is Xana grabbing a knife out of the kitchen to try and defend her man. Maybe actually cut this guy. Who knows? But probably tried to go in to do so, and he overpowered her and took the knife. This could be a regular kitchen knife, or a cooking knife with a K-bar tip. Okay, it's just a theory. You got to imagine you got a perpetrator that's just coming right in your house, or probably was already in there. Nobody was home yet. They were the first two to get home. Okay, so I kind of feel that Ethan may have gotten knocked out there in the kitchen first. Little struggle with Xana, because obviously I'm assuming she would have came at him with the knife first. He would have overpowered her and took that knife, and then she would have ran, screaming, and probably ran to her room in order to close and lock the door, and was not able to do so. The guy was too fast, kept that door open, and went after her with the knife. Ethan comes in, and then you can hear him. Where's the Xana? And you can hear that, those the voices, or what'd you do? And then, no. Okay. And then he would have dealt with Ethan right then and there. And then either A, shut the door afterwards, or Ethan was still a bit conscious and tried to reach for the door, and that's how the door got shut. And his body ended up blocking the door. Now, it's still in the air if there was 2 men or 1 man. Because here's the thing. Who ended up on that little roof area that seemed to have a lot of red stains coming out of right outside Xana's bedroom window? So, what if he did jump out that window because he got caught in that room? Jumped out that window, jumped out, off the... Now, you would think he would leave at that point, but he probably didn't. He probably ran all the way to the back to climb back through into the house. He probably just wasn't done. He just kind of got blocked. He couldn't walk out of the room. Comes back into the house and continues doing, I guess, whatever. Or was hiding in the woods and noticed the 2 girls coming home. I know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to think of it. So we already know that Kaylee's dog was already out, so she had to go chasing her dog. Not that she wanted to go take her dog for a walk. So would have chased her dog, took care of her dog. They probably would have went in the back sliding door because of the fact her dog was in the backyard, not in the front. And that's why they didn't take the front door. This perp probably came up on them from the backyard. And we heard other voices of, with that sound just like Maddie saying, "Oh man, you're gross." Or, "Oh, that's gross," or something like that. And you hear the sliding doors and whatnot. So what if he bullied his way in from there and the girls felt threatened and they ran through the house? Now, but here's the thing. I didn't want to go with that route because normally, like, if you're going to run through the house, you're not going to run upstairs. You're going to run and you're going to bang on your girl's door over here. Or you're going to run to the stairs and try to run down the stairs and go out the front. Somebody keeps hitting my van with their car door. That's pissing me off. Yeah, it's a lot to think about. That's the whole reason why I assumed 2 perpetrators instead of 1, all because of how whatever happened in that room. Now, we could be wrong, and Xana and Ethan were the last to go. But if we're going by what we're hearing at the Linda Lane footage, it just kind of doesn't seem that way. Now, this perpetrator could have been upstairs already before the girls even got upstairs, and he could have hidden pretty well someplace it could have been in their closet, or in the bathroom. The girls are getting ready to conk out. The perp doesn't know if they went in their separate rooms, but he definitely knows or seen Kaylee before and Maddie before. And it had to be in a different occasion, like during the day when he has seen them before. And then that evening. He probably wanted to, do what a man would normally want to do, but didn't realize that that the friend was in the same bed. And maybe the girls already had that particular knife and they took that knife out in order to defend themselves. So there's a lot of scenario there. So, but now you understand why it's so hard to just sit back and just think about it. Here you have a perpetrator that busts in people's houses, okay? Robs their stuff, steals girls' underwear. There's a stabbing also that happened in Oregon that left the same MO before what happened in the Idaho4 case. This person seems to travel within this area back and forth, whether it's Oregon, Washington, or Idaho, and continues breaking into people's houses. They have been looking for this man for quite some time, and they finally got him. However, we don't know if he's ever really killed anybody. But here's the thing, if you're going to break into a house and not realize that it's going to be full of people, or people are there, and you get into a fight, or you get busted, I mean, like, how else do you escape? And they seen your face. Or you accidentally fought one of them and killed them. You have to get the witnesses. I don't know if I make too much sense, but I'm trying. This guy, and the fact he has red hair, it's just... Something just tells me he was there. So we got a different pic. Then this is what he looks like with dark hair. So I'm kind of confused. And this guy looks more like the individual they were chasing. So I wonder what in the world's going on here. They got him for burglary. But this is the face that I seen in the videos. And if he had no hair on his head, and his chin hair was long, he could dye it red, but he'd be closer to a redhead than this guy. Interesting, right? So, let's listen to this real quick. Maybe it will ignite another idea.
Since, before the Moscow murders, it happened in Salem, Oregon. That's Travis Jutin on the left and his wife Jamie Lynn on the right. They were attacked by a knife-wielding intruder in the middle of the night while they slept. Travis died at the scene. Jamie Lynn was gravely wounded, but miraculously she survived the attack. Early in the investigation in the Moscow students case, the cyber sleuths began to...
Now, she survived it. How come she is not giving a description of what had happened? Was she able to see the man's face or not? This is something that I didn't get no word of through the news yet.
Notice there were a whole lot of similarities with the Salem case. For instance, both of them happened in the middle of the night. Both of them happened on the 13th of the month. Both attackers used a knife. In both cases, there were survivors left unharmed in the home. And eerily, a pet dog was spared in both Idaho and in Oregon. The survivor who was left behind in the Jutons attack, was a friend who was staying over to pet sit because Travis and Jamie Lynn were just about to head out on vacation the next day to Hawaii. Before the arrest of Brian Kohberger in the Idaho killings, the authorities had said they were ruling out a connection with the Oregon case. But since Kohberger's arrest and his alleged match with crime scene DNA, it's not entirely clear whether police have revisited any other unsolved cases in Salem or anywhere else for that matter. I'm joined now by Myra Juton. She is Travis Juton's mom. And Myra, may I just say I'm so sorry for your loss, and that we're speaking, under these circumstances, especially since it's been well over a year and they haven't found your son's killer. When you heard about what happened in Idaho, did you instinctively think there might be a connection? Do you now think there might be a connection still?
Well, there's a lot of similarities. I have no proof there's a connection, but I'm hopeful that hopefully that this will reinvigorate this case and bring attention to my son's murder, and hopefully we will get some answers soon. It will be 1 year and 6 months this coming Friday on the 13th.
So 18 months, that is... no parent should have to go through any of what you've gone through. And certainly this wait has been excruciating, I can only imagine. When you heard...
I mean, it's kind of hard to understand why would these guys be targeted? It's just how they picked them. Was it planned to be done on the 13th? Are we looking at maybe that happening again? So here you have multiple things going on in all three of these states, all involving robbery, sometimes rape, sometimes murder, but mostly more like this MO. Did they go somewhere? Did they have a party? Did they hang out at some type of tavern or bar? And that's how they ran into the perp? Is that how the perp is finding his victims? I mean, that's something to think about, guys. Alright, so now to a different theory. I'm just going to put this up now. Another theory. So you have these two men that break into people's houses. And they do this in the middle of the night. They hang out where in order to see or find these people and follow them around like stalkers. Yet they only talk about this one right here. And they only caught this one right here. Now, Dylan said she heard these two things. Someone is here, and the other one is, don't worry, I'm here to help you. So the girls are upstairs, and you have Maddie crashing on the bed. She's not even bothering brushing her teeth, get changed. She's drunk. Okay, she's crashed. Then you would have Kaylee in her room with her dog. And we were told specifically by a roommate that used to live there, he basically said you can't walk on those stairs without hearing somebody walking on, without hearing it. I mean, it'd be impossible to tiptoe up those stairs and not hear anything. How the house actually is. So you hear somebody going up the stairs. Dog is barking. Kaylee pokes her head out, and instead of saying, "I think someone is here," or it was probably more of a question: "Is somebody here?" Because the perp would have came upstairs and went straight to Maddie's room. Or did peek in Kaylee's room, and Kaylee was in the bed at the time, and then that's what alerted the dog, and he quickly shut the door, all because there was a dog in there. I mean, there's so many ideas. So he comes up the stairs. He should be closer to her door. Opens it. Probably did not expect a dog. Probably didn't, because it's dark, doesn't know what type of dog. Quickly shuts the door. So then you hear Kaylee say, "Is someone here?" Or "Someone's here." Perp would probably have ran into the bathroom to hide, maybe, or ran into Maddie's room and hid in her closet. But don't forget, Maddie's drunk. She probably passed out and didn't even hear anybody walk through her room. Kaylee would have came out her room. Dog is losing its mind. To protect the dog from biting somebody's friend, she would have closed the door on the dog. Go check on her friend. And either A, she walked in on the act, or B, she walked in before the act. But I think that there would be two people to struggle with if the act didn't happen before, before Kaylee walking in. What would have made this man kill somebody while they're sleeping? What type of interaction did they have that displeased this person so badly? So she comes into the room and she notices and she sees, and she could have screamed, but probably wasn't able to. It's not usually something that would be automatic. Sometimes you can just freeze to the point where you forget to scream. So she would try to have gotten out of there, and he would have grabbed her and thrown her on the bed. But then I was thinking, it would be kind of hard. He would have to literally be standing directly in front of her at the end of the bed and before the desk, because of how Maddie had that room set up. It'd be kind of hard to stretch your arms out, and grab somebody from in between the bed and the desk. So I would assume he came up from behind her, because after doing something to Maddie, he would have went and hid in the bathroom, because he would have heard Kaylee coming up and opening up that door, dog barking, shutting the door behind, and then would have did that. Other thing too is, if they're correct, Maddie and Kaylee could have been laying next to each other. She probably was comforting Maddie because she overdrank, or somebody slipped her a Mickey and just didn't want to leave her alone, wanted to keep an eye on her. Dog wasn't in the bedroom yet. But don't forget the dog is going to go running out of the room, ruff, 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 if he hears something weird. Then the guy would have opened the door to let the dog into that room and shut the door on the dog. And Kaylee would have said, "Is somebody here?" Poking her head up. Maddie's sleeping. She probably didn't wake up Maddie yet. Or thought Maddie was awake. The guy comes in. But that still would have given Kaylee enough time to hop out of that damn bed and give enough time to alert Maddie. Guy comes up on Maddie. Does that. Either A, Kaylee tried to fight the man off of Maddie, and that's why, she probably wasn't even on the bed the whole time. She was probably literally fighting for Maddie's life and jumping on this man. And then he threw her back onto the bed. But this is some serious rage. This isn't just your typical just breaking in the house and grabbing some stuff. No. So let me take you to Enon Harsh. Hopefully I didn't lose you. Now, we all still believe that he is the perp, along with his friend Saeed and the other guy that was following the girls around. This could have been a coinkydink, where in the beginning, Ethan and Xana ran into the regular, these guys, one of these guys, could have been Jacob, and all he did was try to steal from them, and maybe they got into a little fight, but nothing major happened. They get away. Here comes Enon. "Don't worry, I'm here to help you." And then he takes advantage of the situation, because he probably had plans of doing this, and he knew that this was the time to do it. So this Jacob guy very well could have just been a coinkydink. He probably was in there trying to get the pretty underwear of the girls, and maybe whatever bud they had, just checking things out, and there's just a simple got busted, got into a little fight, and they got out of there. But don't forget, Enon Harsh is right next door, or not even, just driving up and parking this little happy behind. He noticed something weird happening. He comes in to help, or act like he's helping. He's got his work knives with him at all times. Maybe he just felt, okay, this is the night. This is the night to try it. Or he had every plan of doing it to begin with. Now, I say this only because what if there was two different type of incidents going on? And the only reason why we have not ruled out Brian Kohberger is only because there had to be some type of connection with Enon, or Enon's obsession with the neighbors. That's why he chose the apartment he did. And he's been watching them for quite some time. And then making sure that he works and has another apartment not far from Brian Kohberger, which tells me he had an obsession with every one of them. And then, now, he has an obsession with laughing at us on social media. Lying to us on social media. Can't keep his lies straight. Could he have witnessed people that did not belong in the house before the incident actually truly happened? Did he come in with his cooking knife just in case? I mean, in the beginning, as if he was going to help his neighbors. Did Ethan get up after being knocked out and assumed because Enon had a knife in his hand, he was going to do something to his girlfriend? And I mean, don't forget, he just was in a fight with a perpetrator that didn't belong in the house, and he wakes up to another stranger in the house, and he probably went at him, and Enon accidentally stabbed him. But guess what? There's a witness. Does he really want to deal with an accident? You know, he's in a house he doesn't belong. He already has a criminal record. He says he was there to help them. Maybe he just panicked and assumed, oh my God, I just killed your boyfriend. You know, I'm gonna kill you. I mean, there's so many things that could have happened. But that's why I never ruled out Enon. Or did he make it upstairs and that incident happened with the girls and not with Kaylee and Xana? Or something happened. If only Enon Harsh could tell the truth. Maybe Jacob was never there, guys. Maybe these guys have nothing to do with the incident. Or maybe just these two have everything to do with the incident. It's a thought. And it's all quinkadink. All coincidence. They were there. They were in the area. They're notorious for breaking and entering homes. Then you have Enon, obsessed with 2 houses, a few individuals, an obsession finding the fact that he's not being accepted by either party. What if this was the right recipe needed for him to do what he did? Now, hear me out. Enon, we could try and find out if there's any connection with the ones in Oregon. Enon does go to Oregon. He does go to different areas in Washington. But he's more of a Pullman and Idaho homebody. For real. But it's the same type of MO. How many more MOs are out there like this? Where X amount of people are taken out and then there are X amount of survivors. And they seem to have slept through the whole thing. Quite interesting, right? And there is so much crime, guys, within those beautiful freaking areas. I'm going to tell you, the drop dead beautiful, amazing areas. And this is what we're finding. We're finding nothing but weird assholes who have no respect for property or life. And they're just running wild. The most beautiful freaking places on the planet. You go visit Oregon, it's gorgeous. You go different areas in Washington, it's just beautiful. You check out Idaho, and it has amazing things to offer. But you can't even be safe. It's impossible. Because you'll have a couple of individuals like this, a couple of individuals like Enon, or Brian, if he is kind of creepy, we don't know. You know, Mr. Know-It-All, we'll go with the Mr. Know-It-All attitude. Following you around. It's just interesting. I hope that you guys were okay with my chit-chat on this, and wanted to bring this to your attention, at least to let you know that this lovely notorious man who busses in people's houses, steals things, especially girls' underwear, very well could have been a stalker. And he stalks. He stalks his prey, and that's what he does. So far, they didn't say anything about him raping anyone or murdering anyone. But you never know. You never know. And we can be completely wrong about Enon, but I still think Enon's a witness. Who knows if Enon ever grew up with these weirdos? Okay? We're finding all kinds of information on Enon Harsh. Who knows if he's helped do dealings with these men before they decided to start becoming who they are. What brings Jacob to a point where he wants to break into females' houses, steal underwear, and, you know, bust in houses, you know? But here's only one thing different, though, with everything that had happened with the Idaho4 case, is the fact that there was no forced entry. None whatsoever. So, I figure I would bring this to your attention before everybody, you know, jumps on board and goes, oh, Jacob could have did it. There was no forced entry in the Idaho4 case. None. Compared to Oregon, there was. So, who would know their secrets? Who would know how to get around in that house without getting lost? Who would know all this but somebody who hangs around there? And may have hung around there when the guys were renting the house, before the girls were ever there. He's probably been in and out of that house many of times. And I am not talking about these two, because I don't even know if they're from the area or if they ever had the pleasure But Enon Harsh has been there forever. Quite a long, 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 long time. Yeah, something to think about. Well, thanks for listening to my strange rant. I'm going to take a nap because I'm exhausted and I have to be ready for the 8 o'clock tonight. I did push it off from last night to tonight. I won't push it off again unless I can't wake up. Okay. I will not be doing any live events for Wednesday. I have two new appointments at 2 different type of restaurants that I will be working on, and I have to get paperwork done for one of them. I'm looking at a $120,000 job on one of the restaurants. That's the paperwork I got to work on tonight. And in hopes I get this job, I'll be getting paid when they get the insurance for it. So I have to give them 2 different quotes. The first quote would be like rebuilding the booths that they already have, or completely brand new build. And I would rather do complete brand new. It makes life a whole lot easier than trying to redo something that's old. So I'll be making the repair one more expensive than a redo, because that's what I would rather be involved in. And so hopefully that works out. And then I have another restaurant I gotta go see on Thursday. I'm almost done with the one in Boulder City, and I think it came out quite lovely. And I will take pictures and video. I just didn't have time. I got a couple people to do the drop-offs for me and the installation because I wasn't able to attend 2 trips so far. But yeah, you just know it's sad in today's world, the way things are. Men are not men anymore. They're not. And I think it's mostly because there's lack of reason to be a man. There's lack of jobs. There's nothing to hold your humanity anymore in this country. And it's just getting worse to the point where we're starting to see females acting really frigging crazy. I know my subscribers know exactly, has witnessed one of them. And will it get any better, guys? I just know that if this country doesn't change, it won't be the immigrants we gotta worry about, because these guys aren't immigrants. U.S. citizens, damn it. And they became psychopaths. They have way too much time on their hands and no money in their pockets. They went from, if we can go back in their timeline, they could have been good kids, good teenagers. They probably had a really promising future. But how can they be men, keep their dignity, when there is no reason to? When life is just not fair at all for anybody in the United States. Competition for jobs is way too high. All the businesses that could have I know the goddamn word. Assembly work are all overseas. Are they robbing the houses and targeting females because they're angry? Is it because the females get more opportunities than the men do now? I mean, really think about it. Could this change, guys? Should we bring back these factories? Should we bring back the workload instead of having everything overseas? Could we change the way man has become? And I know you're probably out there, not all men are like this. You had something that grounded you. Okay? That's why you're not like this. Okay? Nobody's born to be a monster. They're made to be a monster. They're put in positions where, oh, well, fuck it, it doesn't matter anymore. Whether it's the drugs talking or the trauma that they've been through themselves, they done give up. So I'm not giving any excuses on these people. What I'm saying is jealousy. Jealousy is a bad thing. Really, really bad. Envy is a bad thing. Lusting things you can never have, man, that's just like dangling a cute toy in a baby's face and telling the baby you can't have it. But isn't it nice? You could look at it, but you can never have it. Could we change the criminal mind if we can just change how this country's being run? Or the criminal mind is a normal thing? It wouldn't matter? I mean, your opinion. Here's another thing. If you look back in time, when you were able to play outside until dark and nothing bad ever happened to you, how different those times actually were. Where men had jobs, they're busy, they're making money, they're taking care of their families. Even if it was dysfunctional, they were doing it. And you didn't have to worry about losing your child while they're out playing in the park until dark or jogging. Not too many, targeting things were happening to college kids. I mean, all of a sudden, depletion of jobs. I mean, as it's walking out the door and there's no available work anymore for the men, more of the ladies are getting the jobs. More availability for women, less for men. All of a sudden, the crime is rising. You can't tell me I'm wrong. Then the jealousy is rising. Women are just easy targets for men. And for some reason, I cannot fathom, is why man hates women. Why they love them so much, but they hate them so much with a passion. Alright, that was just food for thought. These were just ideas to toss around. You guys can come up with your own. But this main point was what if? What if we're completely wrong about everything and these were this was the original perpetrator in the Idaho 4 case? Thanks for watching.